Many of the last 800 videos I recorded were really terrible. Why? So there are a couple of reasons I think why these were so terrible. First of all, I think that my pronunciation really suffers if I don't have a feedback loop. So currently I'm not recording with a feedback loop. So I did previously only record with a feedback loop, which would be my Zoom H6, which I had usually record the audio on. Now currently I'm using a Rode VideoMic Go 2. In order to have a feedback loop, otherwise known as monitoring the audio while recording, I would have to again plug in my headphones all the time. Now what I found is that if I have this set up, then I pay more attention to my voice and also my pronunciation. And so I actually become so much better at speaking compared to my baseline, which is basically sometimes mumbling up to the point where nobody understands even what I'm saying. Even I sometimes, or often actually, have trouble understanding what I'm saying in videos. But then on the other side is, so on the one side is being kind of true to what I usually am, and sometimes I'm not that outgoing, where I'm like, oh boom, here a video. But on the other side of this is that I would have to kind of play up this persona more and more in order to make these videos at all. So I am kind of switching in between, but it is kind of helping nobody if I am not speaking in a way that somebody even understands me. So one potential solution to this again would be introducing a feedback loop in this case monitoring the audio. On the Rode VideoMic Go 2 I could potentially also plug in headphones, but then this increases the threshold for recording a video. Whenever I have to record a video or I want to record a video, I then have to first plug in my headphones, and the monitoring does not work with Bluetooth headphones because there is just the latency that is too big, and also I would have to wear Bluetooth headphones then. Now I could also wear my Galaxy Buds, for example, but then on my phone this also doesn't work. You cannot listen to this simultaneously. So it only works with, in this case, my Zoom, and also maybe with the Rode VideoMic Go 2, but then I would have a cable in front of me, and also the cable would be visible. Now in terms of music recording, I usually accept this because then it is more critical that I actually listen to this. But in terms of, well, recording voice, then I often do not I have been switching to not doing this and then only listening to it afterwards. But if I record multiple videos in a batch and then I listen to the audio only afterwards, then this might become a problem. Now the second reason is actually that I had already issues before with recording. So I basically have three different options as of now. The first option is a lavalier mic, which is the Rode VideoMic Go 2. This is a microphone that is cable bound, you could say, and this would connect to something. Now the only option I would have to connect it to something would be the Zoom H6, which I could potentially do, but I did try it multiple times and I could not get it to work. Also, this has not the best sound. Now maybe if I use the Zoom H6 as an amplification device, it would potentially sound better compared to it using it only on my phone, because my phone probably has not the best amplification. Now the second option is the Rode VideoMic Go 2. This is the best option basically for increasing how many videos I record. So if I have a certain number of ideas that kind of I have in a certain day, and sometimes I record these ideas and then I have this list in front of me. Sometimes I just record them kind of improvised, which is kind of the premise for all of these videos, that I don't really script them, because if I script them, then I might just as well write a blog post and then either read the blog post afterwards, because then the video is probably better anyway, or I just have the blog post and then I usually just record a screen recording. Now the second option has the big downside that, so currently I do not have the microphone sticking to my face, for example, and I'm also using a notebook as well as then my secondary screen. And because of this, the Rode VideoMic Go 2 is kind of mounted here. So it's basically on top of my phone, which I am using down there. And so as my notebook then goes through multiple cycles of potentially amping up the fan, not the van, but the fan, you then listen to the fan also on the audio. And this is also terrible. Because, well, it is just noise on the audio that I cannot really exclude. I tried the different options that are, so there is software available with the Rode VideoMic Go 2, and the software is either Rode Connect or also Rode Central. And then you can have pad on. I tried all of these options, but it seems to be the case that the audio is then just also not very resonant, so it has kind of less boom to it, one could say. Now, I could potentially have this microphone closer to me, but I don't really know. I also want to have this work desk somewhat clean, and I cannot really have the Zoom H6 up there with it pointing to me, because the Zoom H6 has a display, and the display is kind of like this, and so I have to have the display down, and then I would have a capsule which I could point towards me, but then I could not see the display, and I need the display in order to record music, which I record every now and then. So I could use the lavalier mic, but I don't know how to connect it properly. Then I have the Rode VideoMic 2, which I currently am using via USB, and then connecting it to OBS Studio. And so, also because of the distance, now the Rode VideoMic 2 is a directional mic, which means it is kind of like a zoom on a camera. It zooms in on the audio, whereas a wide-angle lens, as also on a camera, is kind of taking in more information from also around the microphone itself. The Zoom also has this directional microphone, even though there are other capsules available which would be more directional. And the capsules that are available are also, if I have this up here, which would be the central location, I could also maybe have it on my desk or also here, but here I'm kind of typing, so I would have it maybe on the other side, but then I'm usually speaking to this side. And so if I'm speaking to this side, and I also want basically the access to the controls of the Zoom H6, then I'm kind of out of options, because, well, then I cannot point it towards me again. So using the Rode VideoMic 2 seems kind of the best option, and if I use the camera arm, which is down there, then I have a greater distance to the microphone, which also means I have to speak louder, which also means that I cannot speak as deep, which then annoys me more if I listen to the recording and I listen to my higher pitched voice. Also because I have been speaking less, I think, on average. And also, not necessarily because I have been speaking less, but what I do notice is that my vocal range seems to decrease. Mostly, I lose access to the deeper frequencies whenever I don't sing as much. And I didn't sing as much in the last couple of weeks or even months, so I think I have to sing at least 10 minutes and also loud in a day. But then, of course, it's kind of difficult to schedule this. Also, sometimes I don't want to sing it like in the evening because, well, neighbors, and then in the morning maybe also not, and then during the day I try to work, and sometimes I can maybe say, okay, this is potentially work, and sometimes if I record some, yeah, well. So I'm focusing mostly on the videos that are kind of in this neutral style here, and that are kind of talking videos in this style, which I call front. So now also what I also have to mention here maybe is that, of course, because I constructed it this way, my brain is the main constraint that holds kind of these videos on a low quality standard otherwise, if I don't improve the quality or the mental performance. So the one idea would be, if I have these 24 hours in a given day, to schedule the videos whenever I have peak mental performance. So this would be one idea to potentially increase this. The quality, if I have all other things constrained. I do have the video constraint. I try to only pause with the videos. I try to not edit the videos. So the video quality is kind of just dependent on whatever I'm saying. And so the better my pronunciation, the better the things I actually have laid out, at least in my brain, then the better the potentially better the video. Now also I have been kind of restructuring things a little bit. So I am now only recording kind of videos, whereas before I recorded specifically short videos or long videos, but this has, I think, not really impacted the video quality. But in terms of my own perception of these videos, I have been often not in a very good mental state for recording, so this would be ideally a kind of a peak mental state, I would say, because otherwise my word fluency is just not as good, and then this is also showing in videos. And then I'm mumbling, not specifically mumbling, but I then cannot find words, and since English is not my first language, then this is also potentially a problem. And so many of the last 800 videos were quite terrible, but I nonetheless decided basically to post them, because that's just what I do on default. And so I think there is no particular reason to maybe not post them, because if I begin, then every second video is, okay, I now stop, because, well, this is not good enough. And so I think I will nonetheless leave them up. But nonetheless, I wanted to also record this analysis of these as I went through all of them, or at least for the couple of first seconds, because I did already hear them when recording them. But nonetheless, this is kind of the judgment on the latest batch of videos. And now the keyboard again isn't working. I typed already.